Ho! How's that for an introduction, Jeff? A little bit longish in the tooth.
I loved it.
You know, it is what it is. So we've got a great show today. Hopefully it is actually happening live. We're hoping to see that happen here. I do see classy intro. Richard says it is. I really wanted to use Goodbye Yellow Brick Road, but the estate of Sir Elton John is certainly going to be a bit feisty about that. So, until he gets back at me, we will just do whatever we do. No, I was right. It was classy. It was classy and sassy. That's the way we like to roll it. So what are we doing today, Jeff? What are we talking about? What's the story?
We are talking about organic social media.
The growth engine people keep ignoring.
Yeah, that one.
And paid stuff too, of course.
Of course, they have to work hand in hand.
Right on. Right, Jeffrey, right. So the thought I'm having here is every founder wants to get some traction. Am I correct?
We all want some.
We all want some, as David Lee Roth said.
Right.
So everybody wants attention, growth, blah, 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 blah. We're all fighting for the same thing, I think. So many brands treat organic social media like it's a side hustle. They're not really thinking of it as a strategic growth tool. Jeff, would you agree or disagree? We've seen people spend months perfecting their packaging, their paid ads, and without even testing the creative first. And then they wonder why there's really no engagement or the sales are flat or not moving at all.
Yeah, there's no activity in that. You know, when I say activity, I don't mean, there's posts there about their products a lot of times, or features of the product, but there's no engagement in terms of a community talking to each other about relevant, information.
That's right. Hey, you know what? While we're here, just by the way, we dragged her out in the morning here. We've got a great guest who's going to talk to us about all this stuff. And I'll give her the short version of my WWF intro. At least maybe it's just my Max Power, Guy Smiley, or Ryan Seacrest intro. Today we've got Jaryn Dominique. She's the Chief Deviant Officer at Deviant Digital Services. We happen to actually work with Jaryn and her team quite a bit, and she is a priceless, invaluable partner. She's got over a decade in digital marketing. She's led SEO, content, paid media, and reputation strategies for brands both big and small. She's a Google partner and a certified expert. She's also certifiable. Jaryn also serves on the Google Research Advisory Board. She's helping shape the future of that platform. Please, without further ado, which is French for, I think, adieu, let's welcome Jaryn to the stage. Jaryn.
Woohoo!
Thanks for the intro, guys. That made me feel very fancy. Thank you.
I love it. So how are things going out there? You're in Arizona, yeah?
Yeah, Arizona. It's the morning here. So I know you said I had to bring food for your potluck. So I have breakfast items.
Oh, nice. Did you bring... I promised everyone that you were going to be serving up some wet eggs, hotel style.
I do. I know. We've set up the expectations, and already I'm disappointing. No, I've got a boiled egg here. I've got some almonds, an apple, a boiled egg. I've got my waters and my water bottle, but it's a nice lean breakfast today here, guys.
There you go. There you go. So, as you heard, we're going to be talking about organic social. It's not just posting for fun. It's actually fuel, right? And if you're going to do it right. Let's talk about a couple of things first. What are your thoughts and your experience on the importance of organic social media?
Yeah, I think you put it really well. I think a lot of people overlook it, or they jump right to paid, right? But the truth is organic social media, even if you want to write it off, could benefit all businesses, all brands. It helps you grow brand awareness. It helps you build trust and loyalty, which is actually the most important part of the funnel, because you're actually nurturing those relationships you put so much work in to get originally. It obviously can drive more traffic and more sales for you. It actually can feed your SEO. Some of these social channels already have partnerships with these search engines, and they've already gained up that value and relevancy, so it can help benefit your search engine optimization. And then it's also a great place to A/B test. So let's say you are running ads. Organic is a great way to make sure that you're perfecting those messages and see how people are actually engaging with you. So yeah, it's a really valuable tool. And unfortunately, a lot of business owners and brand innovators overlook it.
Yeah, I agree. And, you know, we've got some great folks in the chat here. They're blasting away some questions and some comments.
They're asking about the painting behind me. It is an actual like painting. Like if we got up close, you could actually see all the layered paintings. It's not the Lego version.
Nice.
No, okay. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you. Richard's in the house. He's done some work with the Google team, although indirectly through another research company. Cool. Very cool. So some people here are familiar, but I know that there's going to be a lot of folks too that are far less familiar. You know, and I think that it's interesting what you mentioned about A/B testing without spending a dime. Really, you got to start somewhere. And you know, why would you sink your money into these? I know everyone thinks, well, the ads are cheap, so why not? You know, the ads are cheap if you want to make them cheap. You know, that's cheap. You know, tell us a little bit. You know, because when we talk about paid advertising, we do this with you. We usually start at a base kind of foundational budget, and then we see how things progress over a month or two or three, and then we're able to see what works, what doesn't, and then kind of like use the ads that work and dump the ones that didn't.
Yeah, and like that makes sense. But what's a lot of people end up doing is missing the organic side of things. So they think let's just jump right into ads, right? And then they don't set up things properly. I can't tell you how many people approach us and they didn't make sure it was set up in the right account, or that they had tracking set up, or they never tested the message organically beforehand. And it's funny you said that ads are cheap at first. But the truth is if you keep running them and you don't ever have a strategy, and you're not building out an organic strategy at the same time, and you're not testing, like you said, A/B testing and perfecting, that cost is suddenly going to go up, and your return on investment is going to start going down.
That's the difference, right, Jeff? And we had a situation where, I mean, again, someone was running paid ads. They probably didn't click the right button, and they had like gangster rap running.
Yeah, there's some automation. There's some AI stuff that can just, you know, run amok through your ads if you don't have the right settings. If you don't, you know, turn certain things off, all of a sudden now you have a static ad that's running in like, let's say, Reels, that may have like music behind it because it needs to fill it in with something, and you don't get to choose the music. So it gets kind of weird, right? And you're like, oh, I didn't put that music here. And so yeah, setup is super important, right?
It is. And so many people, especially if you're just trying to do this on your own, like let's say you're not investing in an agency, which you should, then it's so easy, because the way these platforms set it up, like Meta or even LinkedIn, they'll be like, oh, this is our recommendation. Just make this automatic, enable it. And like you said, Jeff, now suddenly what's happening is you're giving control to the bots, and they're going to apply random music to it. They're going to apply random placements to it. They may actually change your creative. So now you've given your power away, and you're likely wasting more money when you could have just been testing organically and perfecting the message yourself.
Yeah. And we're getting some confirmation in here on that whole point from Brianna. What's up, Brianna? Hamburger helper.
Absolutely.
Anyway, yeah, that's, I mean, these things happen. When I said cheap, I don't mean like cheap, like flimsy. I mean, you know, people look at it and they go, I can throw a few dollars at it and do this and that. They're like, wow, if I can get so much I can do with $35. That's not really the way this works. And it can, but you're not getting much out of it. And then, as you said, that there's the whole cost. If you don't have a strategy, then it's actually going to cost you more in the long run, especially when
Right.
you're not getting any value from it. And that's where I think people go, yeah, I don't think it works. I love when people tell me, I don't think it works. Because who's doing it? You? You know, what's your experience in running a paid social media advertising campaign? I don't have any. It's available. I just, I have Meta, so I can do that. And that's the thing where you go, like, there's a science behind it, isn't there?
There is a science. And yeah, I love that, because you're right. On the one hand, they think it's cheap, like, oh, I can just throw some money at it and look, I got clicks. And it's like, cool, what did those clicks get you? So again, going back to, was it set up properly? But then the other angle of people thinking it's cheap is, so they ignore it, or they're doing it themselves, right? And then they're like, okay, I'm going to hire someone. But again, they think it should be cheap. So they're like, oh, I'm just going to hire like my niece who's 16 and I'm just going to pay her $10 and she'll figure it out. It's like, it's a marketing strategy. It's not something that you want to throw off to just someone over the wall. It is something that you want to invest in and build upon in a smart way.
It is interesting if you're, you can ask a 16-year-old like to take a look at your social media, and they're going to give you an opinion, and they're going to tell you what they think, and they probably know a hell of a lot more than I do, or not you, Jaryn, but Jeff and the rest of us, but at the same time, I go, yeah, that's great, but is that your audience? Is that actually, if you're catering to that audience, I think that's fabulous. And that brings us to the other part about, I want to talk a little bit about, organic versus paid, saying, I guess it's pretty obvious. Paid ads are transactional, right? Fair enough.
Usually, yeah. I mean, unless you're running awareness and trying to build an audience, but yeah, mostly it's transactional. I agree.
And then the organic side is more relational. It's building your voice. It's building your trust, your presence.
Yeah, building up that loyalty, your reach, and also trying to converse. Like, you don't want to be talking at your audience. You want to actually be engaging with them.
Jeff, what's your favorite social media platform these days?
Oh,
I know the answer.
It would be LinkedIn.
Okay. If the LinkedIn gods are listening, we are accepting sponsorships. Yeah. How about you on a personal level, Jaryn, and on a business level? What's your favorite platform to play with?
Yeah, so LinkedIn's my favorite because I'm a business owner, obviously. So that's from a business standpoint. If you're B2B, I think you need to be on LinkedIn, like on your personal profile, as well as have your brand have its own profile. You need both. But then, yeah, for me in my spare time, when I'm not taking care of myself or my clients, I'm usually on TikTok or Instagram, honestly.
Okay. My personal favorite, I forget what it is, and bonus points for anybody that can comment in there. I signed up when it looked like TikTok would go away. I was like, I'm going to just pull an end around here and throw one deep. I'm going to sign up for that Chinese the Mandarin TikTok. I forget what it's called. Red Flag or Red Book? Red Book.
And you're still on it?
No, I don't know.
He doesn't know.
I probably am.
They took his identity and everything.
Well, I knew right when it happened. I was like, yeah, this is probably a not a well thought out thing you're doing. But at the same time, I was like, if anybody wants this information, they probably already got it. So I just thought it was very interesting. I mean, for me, I used to, my morning routine as a human and as a business owner, once I got everything else done, breath work, meditation, blah, 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 the kids and breakfasts, I would go straight to CNN, then to Facebook, Instagram, and maybe at some point I'd get around to LinkedIn. In the past year, that whole thing's flipped. LinkedIn is the first thing I look at,
Nice.
And I find that I spend so much more time. I still have some activity in the other channels, but I'm more of a lurker on the Facebook and Instagram side, TikTok too. I don't engage much in there.
Just a place to unplug.
Yeah. And I mean, isn't it important why the idea, how important is it? And Jeff, I think you can answer this too. How important is it to understand what platform is a good fit, not only for your business, but where is your audience? As they say, fish where the fish are. How important is that?
Yeah. So the one thing I'd like to speak to, in the beginning of, you had mentioned a couple of times about, a strategy in terms of what's your target audience? Why are you doing this? Who is it that you're doing this for? Right. So you have to have those questions answered. So for me, LinkedIn, one thing that I've observed with LinkedIn is that, founders, it's about personal branding, right? So they represent their business. And so they're building up their personal branding on LinkedIn on their own profiles. Their companies or, their brands have their own kind of personality that may or may not be in alignment with their personal brand, right? It might be a different story, a different way that they interact. And then on these other platforms for their, direct to consumer market and targets, it's about building the community, right? So there's a community discussion that happens when it's done right that goes on its own. It's on autopilot because all of these people are gathering together. Sure, it's around a brand, but everybody is sort of is like-minded. And so the discussions that happen organically are all relevant to the other people that have followed. Where you lose people is when people give you a like and none of the content there is relevant to anything.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
I
Agree.
completely agree.
We got a great question from Ryan, and Jeff, I'll say we can do like a 15-second answer for each of us if
Okay.
in fact you have an answer, and we'll let Jaryn will go first. I'll just read it for the people who are I don't know. Can anybody else? Do I need to read it? From a brand or a personal perspective, Ryan wants to know on LinkedIn, what's your take on profile headlines that are a bit different? For example, I've come across, man, I love dragons, or book dragon, or some include more professional pieces, but they seem to be getting more fun and exploratory
Yes.
with profile headlines. What do you think?
Yeah, I love it. Obviously, don't get too personal or too weird so that you're going to end up alienating yourself or part of your audience. But I mean, the data's there. You can see that not just on like LinkedIn profiles, but on email subject lines, on social media headlines, on ad headlines. If you can get a little weird, maybe throw in an emoji, it's eye-catching. It helps you stand out. And so I understand why so many people are doing that because like I said, the data's there. It does get you more clicks.
Mm-hmm. So, but you think like if I put like Leather Boy in I should take it out?
Maybe not.
Yeah, like that doesn't sound good. Or what's the Michael Scott joke from The Office? He's all like, I want to show people that I want to be a parent one day, so I'm going to call myself little kid lover. Don't do that.
Oh my goodness! Wow. Really,
what she said. What she said. All right, yeah. What's your take on that?
Well, my take on it is like, in my own profile, I put dad jokes, right? And it's sort of like I can't put that there if that isn't what's me, what's real, authentic. But it is. It's sort of like I think of dad jokes all the time. My kids hate them, but it's kind of funny because it's what you're doing is you're sharing not only what your role is professionally. Sure, you should do that, or what is it that you provide potential customers, clients, that kind of thing. But show who you are, like so when you do have those conversations, it's like they're expecting a certain personality, right? They get a little glimpse into maybe what your hobbies are, or what you're into, or what your personality is like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I always say people want to connect with the personality behind a brand or a business. They don't want to connect with your logo.
Right.
For me, I think that I always find that just that profile headline, that first piece, I feel like, look, it should just tell you a little bit about who I am and what I'm here for. Like, this is what I do and this is what I am. And then I think that there are other ways to weave in some more personal. I'm a big fan of the ands. Nobody ever talks about their ands and saying, when I think of myself, people say, what are you? And, instinctively, I'm going to say, oh, I'm a founder, I'm a creative director, I'm a this, I'm that, I make stuff. And, but when you really dig into it, you go, well, first and foremost, I'm a human living on planet Earth for, limited run, as they say. But also, I'm a dad, I'm a brother, I'm an uncle, I'm, an athlete. I was, but I'm a reader, I'm a gardener, I'm a wine drinker, I'm a wine drinker, I'm a coffee drinker. But those are the things that I think when people share those things on LinkedIn, it gives you a better sense of who they are as people. Because look, I can read your freaking headline, right? I read it already. You don't have to tell me again. Tell me who you are. And that gives us an opportunity to learn more about each other. The only other thing I was going to say is that what I really dislike on LinkedIn and pretty much everywhere else is when people make up like fake titles for themselves just to like be cool. I don't get that. Like, I don't know, creative chaos curator. I hate that. I mean, I think I did it once and I was like, what are you doing? UX whisperer. I mean, like, come on, it's not a job. It's really not. So I think it's, you can use it in different places and it makes sense. But I think that within the body of the headline or anything else like that, I go, just keep it straight. I do like marketing and professional yapper because for Brianna, she is a professional yapper. And
absolutely. Yeah.
Well, and I'm wondering, did I get in your crosshairs there? Because technically I called myself a chief deviant officer. So
no, you did not.
That's within your branding.
No, see, that's within the brand, and I get that. So, I mean, hey, Jaryn, I'm like I said, I'm guilty of it 1,000 times over. I've called myself stupid shit for years.
Guru.
Yeah. No, okay. Anybody that calls himself a guru should be quietly escorted out of the theater, if you will. So let's talk about founders. And, I think there's a lot of people that want to be in charge of their own social media. And for one reason or another, sometimes that can be good. Sometimes that's not so great. But like when founders go like, we got it internally, or I got it. Like, what is it about handling social media, but actually not handling it is kind of a bad scene.
Yeah, I mean, my thoughts are whenever they say something like, I can handle it, I can do it, I'm always like, yeah, I know you can. You're a business owner. You're smart. Look at what you're capable of. Is this how you should be spending your time and money? Is this really how you should be spending your energy? And also, let's be honest, I agree you can do it, but are you an expert in it? No, you're an expert in your field. So why don't you want to bring someone in who is an expert who can enhance you and actually bring the strategy for you so you can grow?
Mm-hmm. Totally 100%. Like I always use the brakes on my car analogy. I have to, I need new brakes. So am I going to YouTube to learn about how to do a brake job on my car? I could.
You could.
I could spend a whole weekend doing it and end up with extra parts at the end. Or I could just bring it to a professional and have them do it.
And that's a one-off, right? So, but whereas with one of the social media, especially organic social media, one of the big things you have to do, I think you said it earlier, Peter, is consistency. So that's cool. You figured it out the one time. Are you ready to do it again tomorrow and the day after that? And like, honestly, if you're running brand social, it's not the same as a personal profile. Like you need to have the strategy, the planning, again, the consistency, visual identity, branding, community management. All it takes is one person messaging you and you didn't get back to them for 8 hours and now you've lost a customer. Yeah. And then again, that tracking and analytics.
Yep, absolutely. That's a huge part of it is responsiveness. And, who has, I mean, for us, people in our world, this is what we do for a living, right? So it's not unheard of for us to have to pick up the phone and like get back to somebody who has left a comment or a review or asked a question. But for a lot of business owners and founders, there just isn't enough time in the day to maintain that, nor should they have to. I mean, when you first start out, I think it's acceptable and you're going to have to do the grind. You gotta. But at some point, if you can delegate and share that workload, I do agree that a CEO or a founder has to have a personal voice, especially on LinkedIn, a personal voice, because people want to do business with them, not, such and such brand, Acme Incorporated. But, and I want to, before we go any further on this, I think I put it up here, Andrew Arbogast, who we unfortunately could not meet with this morning. We were supposed to, but then Jeff fucked it up. No, I'm kidding. I'm probably going to get...
You made the whole thing
up. It was me. It was me. He's got a great question here about, the end goal, driving new consumers into a store, looking for relevant content, not frequent enough. Can you address this at all, Jaryn?
Yeah. So yes, organic is definitely something that you can do to build this. Honestly, Meta, so Facebook and Instagram are still really, really good for building that local presence, because you can also build individual profiles for all your locations as well and build up that community. And I'm actually going to be really, really weird and bring up a social profile that everyone overlooks because they don't think of it as a social profile. But Google Business Profile, it used to be known as Google My Business. That technically was launched as a social profile. And that is a huge thing to have if you're trying to drive local traffic. And you can update it with social updates and organic content, just like you can these other profiles.
And isn't it, just one last thing too, in terms of, and I saw his comment there, new consumers to new stores in non-local regions, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Isn't this part of the strategy or tactics, let's just call it, is following other accounts that are non-competitive accounts, whatever, and being able to dial it in locally in terms of what gets viewed in different people's feeds.
Definitely. Yeah. That nice engagement and kind of cross channel right there. But at the same time, I think this is also a good example of organic with paid. If you're really not going local, and let's say, Andrew, if I'm understanding you correctly, you're going nationwide or even worldwide, that's a perfect example of you want to get the organic content out there. So you're nurturing the community, but then also get some ads behind it to build up that awareness and that reach even further.
Awesome.
Yes.
You're getting some thumbs up on that answer for Andrew. And I can see here that Robert has also appreciated that mention about the Google Business Profile. Jeff and I, we've run into that a few times where people are like, yeah, I don't think we have access to that. I'm like, if you don't, who the hell does? It's your company.
I'm gonna actually go a little bit like a step back. And not only do you need to have it, but you can't just set it up and forget it.
Yeah.
Jeff, what's the story with the postcard?
So so they want you to have a physical location, and that the way that they verify it is they send you this postcard. And I think it's still the same, right, Jaryn? Like that's the method.
They're slowly updating it. So they're rolling back the postcard and they're starting to make it more complicated with a video, but please continue.
Yeah. But there has to be some sort of ID thing that happens where they have to verify that you're legit, right? And that makes sense because it's like who knows who's setting up businesses all over the place. But what's more important, in terms of like community management, we talk about that's the tough part of social media, right? To me, that's the real tough part because it's the ongoing answering of questions. And I think about these Google business accounts, and somebody will put a review or they'll ask a question and it just sits there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that to me, as like, if you're the person that asked the question or made the comment, it's lousy when nobody, recognizes or acknowledges you. That sucks. And then on top of it, as let's just say I'm not the one that did it. I see that you are just non-responsive to people. Even when they give you 5 stars, you say nothing. The fuck? What is that? So you're already setting the tone for kind of a weird relationship and sort of a bad flavor in the mouth, if you will. I think personally, if I were at the helm of Google, which I am not, and not even close, so no one has to worry, I would make it so that instead of the postcard or instead of a video, you had to prove you could make a really authentic stroganoff before we would allow you access.
Right.
Okay.
I like that. Yeah, that would really separate us all for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I don't mean to be like strict about it. You don't have to come out to, wherever the headquarters is and make it in front of us, but you do have to kind of legitimately prove that you can make an authentic stroganoff.
Right.
And then
it's easier than a Rubik's Cube, right? So
please, I prefer a Rubik's.
I can't cook anything, guys. So I'm just like, oh gosh, they called me. They found my weakness.
Yeah. Is there such thing as a Rubin cube, Jeff? That would be best.
Yeah,
made out of meats and You just
Yeah,
pop
smoked
in your mouth.
meats. No.
All right. So let's talk about what stops people from hiring a pro.
Mhm.
Why are some people still, and again, I don't think we're actually telling people like, oh, you need to hire a pro. You shouldn't be involved in any way, shape, or form. But if you have the opportunity to allow someone that's what they do on a daily to manage that for you, it frees you up to do the other things like, I don't know, strategy, expand your business. But what kind of things have you run across, Jaryn, where people are like, yeah, no, I don't need that?
Yeah. So usually, honestly, when they're coming to me, it's actually a different problem where, okay, maybe they finally wrap their head around they need it, right? But they think it's going to be something like a flip of a switch, or I'm just going to throw this over the wall, but you never have to talk to me again because you're going to handle it. And so the big thing that I try to tell people is it's okay if you're not ready to do this yet. If you want to continue grinding and doing this, that's fine. But obviously keep in mind that you're wasting your own hours now. Ideally, you're going to do this when you're ready to have a partnership and a strategy, because you need to still be talking to your agency and your marketer to make sure that what they're doing is actually working for you. So I always tell people that this is not a one and done. This is not a, oh, they're doing the post, so now I'm getting the sales. No, it needs to be a thing where you're ongoing doing a cycle with them, where you're planning and then you're implementing and then you're measuring the results and then you start all over and now you're planning again and measuring. So it's really on, I mean, we're dancing around it. It's all about the strategy, right? If you're not investing in this and getting a partnership, you're probably going to have weak content. You're going to have the low engagement. Your customer service is probably starting to slip, or your brand voice is going to be all over the place. And it sounds like 10 different people are writing it and you're going to fall behind. So you need a partner and a strategy.
My question for you is what happens when, and I've seen it, you get an owner, a founder, a marketing director that says, yeah, no, that doesn't sound like me. No, change doesn't sound like me. What do we say to that?
Well, one, I try to dissect that and say, okay, have we developed your brand? Do we want it to sound like you, or do we want it to sound like your brand? But then I also wonder, because I get this a lot, is like, okay, are we now starting to fall into the perfectionist trap? So are we nickel and diming, for lack of a better phrase, every period, every word, every emoji? Because now we're wasting time, right? Yeah. We're not getting consistent. We're not getting the content out there. And we're not letting our audience tell us what they want to hear.
There's so much in terms of like, I do typos, and Peter, like there's so much just out that no one even cares. Like they don't care like that I typed in the wrong. I care because I'm like crazy about it. I go in and edit it later, but
right.
But no one else even comments, oh, by the way, you spelled that word wrong. Like it's not really relevant, right? It's they get what your post is about, and then they comment on it. That's what's relevant to them.
Well, and that's the beauty of organic to begin with, is that you're testing all of these messages and you're testing the spellings or you're testing the graphics. So then you can see what your audience wants and then ideally graduate that content to an ad. But
that's right.
If you're getting lost and this doesn't sound like me, or, oh, this doesn't sound right, it's like, well, now you're overthinking it.
Nice.
Exactly. Yeah.
I also can appreciate what Robert's mentioning here about phantom numbers and click farming. I think, though, I'm going to add click farming to my my headline as a title. I'm going to be a click farmer.
Nice. Are you going to wear the overalls?
Yeah. Just the overalls. Yeah. Okay, before we get into anything that may or may not lead to chafing, we'll move off of that.
Excellent.
So, what about, this is the part where people are like, well, you're just trying to nudge me out of the whole gig. I don't want to do that. Like, why does it matter? What is the voice of a founder, CEO? How does that matter in the realm of the social media sort of environment?
Yeah, I mean, in my opinion, it matters more than ever, because look how saturated we all are, right? Look how connected we all are. There's so many businesses, there's so many brands, and there's emerging generations that are getting picky about who they want to connect with. So it seems to matter more than ever of people are really deciding, what brands do I want to support? Who do I want to buy from? Who do I want to actually purchase the services from? And if they don't believe in you or your brand or the people behind you, then right away you're losing that loyalty, that trustworthiness, and you're going to start getting stale because you're not reaching new customers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Heather, thank you for recognizing how meta I was when of course, I'm going to have to go and, Google what that means and figure out where I went meta. I think I know. Yeah, no, that's the thing. We know, like, Jay Williams, the Williams kid, Mr. and Mrs. Williams boy. He's great at this. He's like full on in it, and it's working. And I know he could tell you, I don't know if he's in here somewhere, but nobody starts off perfectly. You're gonna fail. You're gonna make mistakes. I always tell people like two things that, like, this is why bands that play at, let's say Wembley Stadium, because I know we all like music here. They don't tune up in front of the audience. They don't sound check in front of a full house. You got to kind of work out the kinks as you go, but you can do that on a small stage. And that's where you're starting with social media. You don't have to worry about it so much. Just say fuck it, and post it, and move on, because you're going to learn from growing. And one thing that I always found interesting, and I've told so many people to do this, some people love him, hate him, whatever. Like Gary Vee's a great example. He's really good at this, and he's really bang, bang, bang. And he has, in some people's mind, he can afford to be that flip about stuff, and he can. But like, if you watch his earliest videos on YouTube, he sucks. He's terrible. He shows no promise whatsoever. But he did it, and he kept doing it, and he kept getting better at it and better at it. Now he's changed the way people do this altogether. So I see no issue with like, oh, I suck at it. Just suck at it and put it out there and move on.
Yeah, I know you're a reader like me, Peter. So I just finished Atomic Habits finally.
Oh, I
so
just
good.
started.
Oh my, it's awesome. You're gonna love it. But one of the things he talked about that I keep repeating to myself, he was given an example of a professor who gave half of the class one assignment, take a photo every day. And the other class had the assignment, you only get to submit one photo this year, one photo. And so you'd think, okay, that one photo is going to be perfect, right? But really what ended up happening is that all of these students with the one photo overthought it, and they didn't get any better over the year. Whereas the ones that were taking a photo a day, they perfected their craft, and they actually were the ones that ended up growing. It's because it wasn't getting stuck in that perfectionist loop. They were just consistent and kept doing it. Consistency is really the key. Just keep at it.
Experimentation too, right? So it's so funny on LinkedIn. The timing is all over the place. Like when you post on what kind of reaction you're going to get, the content. Some of the posts that I get the most comments and engagement on are like 3 sentences, and then other posts, are duds. But you learn as you go because you're experimenting, you're trying different things in terms of how you communicate. And the timing, of course, is part of that, strategy as well. But I think it's the doing is what matters. Like with all of this is that be consistent. Like you said, you just keep doing it. And then after a while, you kind of get the feedback that you need to, if you need to make adjustments or create new pillars or lanes that you want to try.
I agree completely.
Robert, the Kogan boy from around the corner, was mentioning that most founders seem to be doing a lot of the AI thing, and they're not engaging with those of us who are actually in there in the grind. And that's a mistake. I think it's a Band-Aid on a shotgun wound. It's not going to work. You may get away with it for half a minute. And of course, Detlef says, forget about the nitpickers. Your brand always may separate the audience and fans and haters. Why not mates, mate? So I appreciate that. And we've got, I don't know, Brianna's posting alien emojis. Scott Fisk loves the book, and Brianna also loves it. So I know I'm in good company now reading that. Let's as we move towards the end, and anybody with any other questions, throw them up here. We'll try to get to them. the right mix for people. There's a lot of people telling you do it this way, do it that way, do it this way. I mean, in your opinion, I vacillate between a few different things, and I haven't found one that really fits for me yet. But what do you think, Jaryn? What's the right mix of branded content, curated, organic, founder?
Yeah, I try to brand all my content on certain platforms. So like everything I post on Instagram is branded, for example, because when you've got your grid, that looks lovely. Everything that I post on Pinterest is branded. But then when you're getting into like Meta or LinkedIn or even TikTok, then I think you can bring in like, let's say, I don't know, 20% of curated or value-driven content, or maybe like you're just trying to share. And then I do like it like 10%, maybe like behind the scenes, because again, they want to see behind. But honestly, like kind of go back to what we were saying before, there's no one size that fits all. You got to find what fits for you. So if you're really not sure, I always do the 30-30-30 rule. So 30% brand awareness and let's say call to action. Then let's say 30% just like engaging and trying to get people to go with you. 30% informative, or so again, curated content. And then that final 10%, that's where you can experiment.
Mm-hmm. Is the 10% weird LinkedIn? Is that what that is?
Weird LinkedIn. Is that what we're going to do? I mean, why not? It's your 10%, Jeff. So.
I think it's interesting. I have also heard like someone using a strategy 911 that was like, 9 giveaway expert tips, 1 personal post, human, if you will, and then 1 hard sell. To just rotate that over and over again. Now we do have a question, and I did say we'd take the questions and try to answer them. Although Detlef lost me here when he mentions Insane Clown Posse, so I don't know how to answer this question. I'm not super hot.
So I hear what you're saying, because you're thinking of the DMs, like what we all get on LinkedIn, for example, and some of that is starting to spread into like Instagram and Pinterest. So yes, those strategies are good. I'll be honest, I don't think of those as social strategies though, even though I understand what you're saying, they're on a social platform. I actually think of those as email strategies because it's a direct message. That's right. Yes, email strategies are fantastic, and we probably could do a whole other live about that.
Oh, I like it. No, I guess there you go. We will have to go and do that. Some final thoughts, I guess, from anybody, either of you. How do we tie a nice bow up on this little piece here?
Well, I was just thinking, again, this is part of a part of working out what's the why, why you want this platform, who's the target. Having those, I think you have to have the strategy to build out what it is that you're actually going to do. You have to have a good, solid strategy in terms of how you're gonna work a social account. And one thing I always say to people is, if I go to your website and there's 5 social accounts set up, I know that probably 3 of them are getting ignored. And the thing is just do the ones that you can manage. Just do the ones that are going to be the most beneficial to your business. You don't have to have a place in every single platform.
No, I agree with that. So like I do even a webinar about social media management. And you've kind of danced around it, Jeff. There are certain platforms that are better for certain industries. So we didn't really talk about Pinterest that much, but that's actually really great for e-commerce brands, beauty brands, even car brands. Automobile industry does great on there. Point being, there are certain platforms that do better for certain industries. And there's also certain times of day. I saw one of the comments was like, oh, I have to post every single day. It's like shoveling coal into the furnace. And it's like, no, you can just be strategic. You don't have to post every day. Just make sure that you're posting consistently a few times a week. But yeah, it's all about that strategy. And I know Peter and I were talking about it earlier, but it's like organic social just isn't an option. Especially if you do want to run ads, you need to be running organic. It's not a vanity metric. It's not a nice to have. It is a foundation for your brand and your paid media and your content strategy, as well as your customer service experience. So it's not an if, I don't think.
Okay.
Mm.
I mean, for me, I go, you got to build your brand. You got to get your story straight and tell the right story to the right people. Test your messages, connect with people as a human being, for God's sakes. Scale it, then scale it. Do your organic, do your work. You have to put in the time. Paid comes after. Human always, obviously. Now, on that, because we do have a couple more minutes, I wanted to ask you a quick question.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Can you recall a concert you saw in the 90s?
In the 90s? Yeah, I saw Third Eye Blind in the 90s, and Matchbox 20 opened for them, as well as Train. So there you go.
Nice.
Train
How about in the
too?
2000s?
In the early 2000s?
Yep.
Yeah, I don't think you'll know them. They were, because I was starting to get angsty, guys, so I was starting to turn into a teenager. So the Dresden Dolls.
Oh,
yes.
dude. I got a good story for you. They're from Boston, from Cambridge, really.
Yeah.
And so I forget what her name is. She's fabulous, great writer, great artist, the singer of the Dresden Dolls. She used to perform in Harvard Square as a still model. So painted
She would. That sounds like her.
In a wedding dress. And she would just stand there for hours and then move once. They're awesome. Loved the Dresden Dolls.
Yeah.
Amanda
Palmer.
Amanda Palmer. Yep, that's her name.
She has a solo career. I think she actually got the Dresden Dolls back together for an album or something recently, but
they're performing at one of the festivals this year. I don't know if it's one of the ones I'm going to.
Yeah, that's cool. So another question for you would be, because I know you love music, do you remember the very first single, if it was a single or CD or whatever? What was the very first piece of music you bought for you?
Oh gosh, it'll probably be something lame.
It always is. Anybody that doesn't tell something lame is lying.
I'm pretty sure the one that I bought for myself was probably Britney Spears.
Nice.
But I know the first album that was given to me, and it wasn't even an album, it was a cassette, was The Offspring.
Okay.
Oh.
Groovy.
Yeah.
Groovy. Good one. Jeff, do you have any randos for Jaryn here before? And we gotta give Jaryn her piece here to tell people how to reach out.
Oh yeah.
Connect with Jaryn, meet her, talk to her, pick her brain, hire her.
Do all those things.
Any questions for Jaryn, Jeff?
Actually, just a side thing. Scott was asking, ever heard of Shyness Clinic, Boston area? I haven't.
I have not.
Either. But now we have to go look them up because we all love music.
Thanks, Scott. We're going to go look for that.
I did record in a studio way back in the day in Boston. It was in Brookline. It was a very snowy day. My mom actually dropped the band off in the station wagon, and we were snowed up in this little studio in Brookline with a band called what were they called? Electric? No. I forget what they were called. Anyway, these guys are still around, and I see them occasionally on LinkedIn because they're different founders now, and it's hilarious. And I go, I've seen you guys at your absolute worst. So what if you could send out one message, Jaryn, to the entire world on, one text message to smartphones around the world? No fees apply, no data usage wasted here. What would the message say to everybody?
Yeah, I'm assuming we're going to keep this in digital marketing land. So,
wherever you like.
Yeah.
So, I probably would say digital's not going anywhere. AI is not going anywhere. So it's not something to ignore, but it's also not something to be afraid of. And so just go ahead and try it. Don't be afraid to try. Maybe we'll simplify it like that. Don't be afraid to try.
Okay. I like that. That's a deep thought.
The only thing I would add at this stage in AI, for me, don't rely on it.
No, it's a tool.
That's
a tool.
Right.
So, now again, any parting messages? How can people best reach you? Through LinkedIn, connect, click?
You're so sweet. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, thank you for having me on. I hope this is the first of many. Obviously, the first ones they should all contact is Brand Artica because we are partners. So technically, if they ever wanted to work with you guys, I would be included. But yes, if you're ever interested in talking to me directly, you can find me on LinkedIn. You can find my website, beadeviant.com. Again, my business is Deviant Digital Services. Though, again, I am a Brand Artica partner, so you can always start with Brand Artica.
What?
But yeah, call me, DM me. I am launching a free video series on my YouTube next month that actually goes over a lot of these like kind of basics for business owners as well. So worst case scenario, subscribe to me on YouTube and check those out.
I love it. I love it. I am going to call you out here, Brianna, this Hootie and the Blowfish stuff. Come on.
Yes.
Come on. Seriously.
I'm into it, Brianna. Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry. I don't know. Although I can't talk. The first piece of music I ever bought was like 38 Special, like a single.
Nice.
What kid buys a 38 Special single? I mean, anybody remember the song? What was the song?
Hold on loosely.
No Googling, Jeff.
Hold on loosely.
Hold on loosely or hold on tight. It doesn't even make sense. Why would you hold on to something loosely?
But don't let go.
Yeah. How does that even work?
I don't know.
How does one hold something loosely?
It's a metaphor.
You think it was? Because I don't think they knew what a metaphor was. I don't think they could spell metaphor. No offense. All right. No, you don't have to be a partner to get a hat. They cost $75,000 each. You only have to sell 2 more and we can take the rest of the year off. All right. Oh, no. And Brianna, I am not judging you. I mean, I am a little bit, but I am not. I want to thank everybody for coming in today. It looks like we lost 1 or 2 people along the way. Jeff, I'm going to take the Brand Artica speedboat as deep inland as I can to see who got lost and where. Inform them of the rest of it. Can you take the Brand Artica copter and go hunt down the other person that
I will
this thing, and then just really aggressively update them on everything they missed?
Okay.
Awesome. I'd love that.
I'll
so don't
DM
forget,
them.
we're Brand Artica. He's Jeff. I'm Peter. She's Jaryn from Deviant Digital. And, you can always stop by brandartica.agency if you want to learn more about us. You can listen to the 1/7th podcast, a series of questionable questions available now on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. God knows how much longer, though. And of course, we got a free ebook out that everybody likes. A free ebook. It's really called The Mess That Makes the Magic. It's kind of about inspiring some creativity. So if you want any of that, you can click on our website, find it, all that stuff, all that jazz. I want to thank everybody for coming in today. Okay. And that's it. Hey, let's get a screen grab. Everybody lean in close. Okay. And that goes for the audience. I want you to take your own screen grab of yourself and go ahead and post it. Okay. There it is.
Awesome.
All right, everyone. Irons up the irons, everyone. All right.
Thanks so much.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, everyone. This was really fun.